an unbelievable, ruthless, short performance, caught him with good shots and done an absolute job.
Did you expect that?
No. I fancied him to win. I thought he'd stop him, but I didn't think it would be like that.
It might be a one round. Oh my God, no one has stopped Dillian Whyte in the first round. Oh my God, Moses is him. Dillian Whyte's out. Oh my God.
Yeah, disappointing really, to be honest. I mean, look, great from Moses, but just Dillian, the inactivity, the age, it was always going to be too much early on. But look, obviously you've got to give big respect to Moses Itauma. He's a brilliant fighter, but it's a bit sad watching Dillian like that, to be honest.
To be honest, like what Ben was telling me what to do for the first maybe 2-3 minutes, I saw he was doing exactly what Ben telling me to do, but it's just, you know, the fight nerves, whatnot kicked in. And then after maybe like the first minute, I was like, okay, cool. I keep seeing this happen. I can't miss it. So, yeah, man, execute the game plan.
Yeah, obviously we're devastated as a team, but look, this is boxing. And like I said, I just believe if Dillian was able to set out his still keep his defense and himself high and move a little bit early, I felt there was opportunity to hold early. There was an opportunity to take a knee before it got to that. He's got the experience and he didn't utilize none of this stuff.
The boxing world has been buzzing since the dramatic showdown between Moses Itauma and Dillian Whyte, a fight that not only ended in explosive fashion, but also ignited debates about the future of the heavyweight division. What unfolded inside the ring was more than just a victory. It felt like the passing of the torch. Fans, pundits, and fellow fighters alike have been lining up to...
I think he's a great talent. I think he's, at 20 years old, he's put on this massive stage, fighting someone like Whyte who has the experience. But if you look at it, Moses ticks all the boxes in terms of speed, movement, ring IQ, probably packs power, you know. He's been knocking out everyone put in front of him, so he's a very special talent, and that's why everyone's excited about him as a fighter.
Weigh in, and the reactions paint a very clear picture. Moses Itauma is no longer just a prospect. At 20 years old, he looks frighteningly complete, and his demolition of Whyte was as much a statement as it was a performance. From the opening bell, it was clear this wasn't going to be a competitive fight. Itauma's speed, movement, ring eye...
You know, mojo from Dillian, but listen, it's very difficult when you're 38 years old. You've been out in the ring for a couple of years and you've just had that Tete fight, and you fight a brilliant, young, sharp fighter. We said that, you know, unless he gets into the fight, it's going to be a disastrous start for him, and it was more than a disastrous start.
Would you want to see Dillian retire?
Yeah, 100%.
What next for Moses? Because there was talk about Usyk and
I wanted to see him in with a live, active heavyweight, you know, because he's definitely...
IQ and concussive power proved far too much for Whyte, who at 38 looked slow, rusty, and vulnerable. Even Eddie Hearn, who has promoted Whyte for years, couldn't hide what the world had just seen. Whyte looked finished. The veteran couldn't keep up with the fast, sharp, and hungry young lion in front of him. This wasn't a battle.
And Moses Itauma certainly doesn't owe us any extra rounds, any extra time in fight. He wants to go out there and get rid of these guys as soon as possible, which is why he is so exciting, and which is why, for me, even before tonight, for me, he's the best prospect in world boxing.
It was a mismatch. Itauma exposed Whyte brutally, and retirement talk immediately became unavoidable. Trainer Dave Coldwell nailed the analysis. He highlighted what makes Moses so dangerous. Efficiency. Itauma doesn't waste time. He doesn't waste punches. He simply destroys opponents. That ruthless streak is why fans are gravitating toward him in droves. Coldwell compared the young heavyweight's poise.
I didn't expect that. Did you expect that? Hey, this is a young kid, 20 years old, with devastating knockout power, bro. This have Mike Tyson type of energy all over it. Yeah, he's going to give these tough guys, he's going to give these veterans a hell of a time, bro. He's poised, he's patient, and he got that knockout power. He know how to set it up. It's going to be a nightmare to get rid of this.
With Whyte's sluggishness, remarking how one looked like the sport's future while the other looked like its past. Former champion Antonio Tarver couldn't help but draw comparisons to a young Mike Tyson, a fighter who once terrorized the heavyweight division with his ferocious power and intimidating aura. Tarver described Itauma as bringing that same Tyson-like energy.
Oh yeah, it was good. Very, very sharp, very, very explosive, you know. I thought he would get him out of there. You know, as the week went on, seeing the shape of Dillian, hearing everyone talking, but it is what it is.
Poise, patience, and devastating knockout power all in one package. For a fighter like Whyte, already carrying the scars of many wars, facing that kind of talent was a nightmare. Tarver's words carried extra weight because they underscored an uncomfortable truth. Whyte never really stood a chance. Itauma isn't just winning fights.
Moses done very well, so let's not come up with excuses. If you go in and ring, you're not 100%. Don't give us the bullshit when you lose. Yeah, and that's not if you go in the ring when you're not 100%, and then you win, and then you want to give us the bullshit, yeah? So, but what I'm gonna say is, yeah, people always say, oh, I was not well, that's why I lost the fight. No, you know, you didn't lose the fight because the younger man has stepped up and then you got caught. The first show which killed him was
He's forcing veterans, legends, and fans to admit they're witnessing the rise of something truly special. Praise didn't stop there. Former WBO Cruiserweight champion Lawrence Okolie praised Itauma for his explosiveness and sharpness, qualities he knows are rare at the elite level. Okolie admitted he fully expected Moses to finish Whyte, and the fact that he did it so quickly only confirmed those expectations. When seasoned fighters recognize greatness, it matters. Then came Derek Chisora, a warrior who shared the ring with the likes of Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk, David Haye, and Vitaly Klitschko. Chisora is respected because he speaks from experience, and he made sure to shut down excuses immediately. Whyte wasn't unlucky, and he wasn't under the weather. He was simply beaten by a sharper, younger, hungrier fighter. Coming from a man who has lived through the highs and lows of heavyweight...
I think we're seeing history being made with him. I really do feel he's going to be a fighter of his generation and of the... I think in time, if he continues to do what he does, he will be up there with all the great heavyweights of all time.
Warfare. Those words carried weight. Even legendary promoter Frank Warren, a man who has guided the careers of Joe Calzaghe, Ricky Hatton, and Tyson Fury, couldn't help but hail Moses' performance as historic. Warren doesn't give out empty praise lightly. To him, Itauma represents a generational talent, and he believes history is already in motion. At just 20 years old, Moses dismantled a seasoned veteran with ease, leaving fans and rivals alike stunned. Warren's message was clear. We are witnessing the birth of a star who could dominate the heavyweight division for years to come. Duke McKenzie, a three-weight world champion, echoed that sentiment, while adding another dimension. What impressed McKenzie most wasn't just the victory, but Itauma's composure. From the dressing room to the ring walk, Itauma carried himself like a veteran. He didn't show nerves, didn't buckle under the pressure of the spotlight, and delivered like a seasoned pro. For McKenzie, that maturity combined with...
I thought we would beat Dillian Whyte, but not with that ease. He looked so comfortable, like saying the build-up in the changing room, his ring walk, his whole sort of demeanour once he actually got into the ring. You know, for a young guy of only 20 years of age to hold down all that pressure and not show it, it's quite impressive.
Speed and knockout power is what makes Moses such a terrifying prospect. While Whyte's downfall highlighted the brutal reality of age and decline, Itauma's rise proved the opposite. Youth, discipline, and natural ability can completely reshape the heavyweight landscape. And then came the words of Tyson Fury, the lineal heavyweight champion. When Fury speaks, the boxing world listens. His assessment was blunt and powerful. Boxing is a young man's game, and Moses Itauma is the new force. Fury didn't just praise Moses, he predicted outright destruction of the old guard. From Usyk to Joshua, Zhang to Ortiz, Fury believes Moses has the tools to tear through them all. For Whyte, that assessment cut painfully close to reality. He's part of that fading generation, a fighter who once carried menace but now looks slow, worn, and unable to withstand the hunger of youth. Fury's...
Boxing's a young man's game and he waits for nobody. So here's the opinion, you've heard it here first. Moses Itauma will wreck all them old men out of the division. Usyk, AJ, Miller, whoever there is who's old, Zhang, fucking whoever else there is, Luis Ortiz, all these big names of the past are all a spent force. And even the world champion now, if they took my belts and give them to Usyk, Moses will wreck him. because he's a young man versus an old man.
These words felt prophetic. The heavyweight division moves in cycles, and Itauma is the cyclone sweeping away the old guard. Spencer Brown also added his thoughts, and he didn't sugarcoat things either. Brown questioned what version of Whyte even showed up, noting that all week he looked drained and weak, a shadow of the dangerous heavyweight he once was. Still, he made sure not to take anything away from Itauma. Brown gave full credit to Moses for dismantling a former top 10 heavyweight with such ease. He also praised his personality, likability, and terrifying skill set. Brown summed it up with one phrase: speed kills. Whyte simply couldn't cope with Itauma's speed, and the power shots came before he could react. Moses has that rare combination, talent and charisma, a fighter who fans can get behind but who simultaneously terrifies opponents. Former world champion Amir Khan, famous for his blistering hand speed, also weighed in. For a man who understands speed like few others, Khan's praise mattered. He said Itauma...
What he beat tonight in Dillian, all week he looks a bit weak to me. I don't know if you saw him, but look, you've got to take your hat off to him. He beat a seasoned top 10 fighter, or he was a top 10 fighter, and he's such a nice kid. He's got every attribute you could want, and he hurts and knocks people out. Speed kills, and that's what he's...
His mix of speed, power, and accuracy is lethal. Khan admitted he thought Whyte's experience and early power might give him an edge, but instead, Moses flipped the script. He ended the fight before Whyte could even settle. That's what makes Itauma so frightening. He doesn't just win, he dominates. With clinical precision, he crushes opponents before they have time to adjust. Khan called him a massive threat in the heavyweight division, and it wasn't hyperbole. The tools are all there. Then came Leigh Wood, another fighter respected for grit, knockouts, and incredible comebacks. Wood praised Itauma not just for his physical gifts, but for his discipline. At only 20, Itauma already shows the ability to listen, adapt, and make adjustments mid-fight, a rare quality for such a young fighter. Wood called him a once-in-a-generation talent, and that's high praise from a man who's lived in the trenches.
I think no one expected it to finish that quick.
Speed kills, as you know.
Speed kills, and he had but not only the speed, he had the power with that, and the accuracy was on point. I mean, I didn't think it was gonna. I thought it'd be the opposite, where Dillian might win the first couple of rounds with his power, but I think it just shows how strong Itauma is and how powerful he is. He's a big threat in heavy
of the sport. The contrast couldn't have been sharper. Whyte looked stuck in his ways, slow and predictable, unable to evolve. Itauma, on the other hand, looked like a complete fighter, adaptable, coachable, and deadly. That difference spelled disaster for Whyte and glory for Moses. The heavyweight division has officially shifted. Moses Itauma didn't just beat Dillian Whyte, he dismantled him. Youth, speed, and hunger toppled age, excuses, and decline. Fans, pundits, and fighters now see Moses as the new force, a fighter destined to dominate his generation. Whyte, once feared, now looks like a man past his time. Itauma, meanwhile, carries himself like a champion already, showing maturity beyond his years. The question on everyone's lips now is simple: are we witnessing the birth of the next heavyweight king? Or can the old guard rally and stop the storm before it sweeps them away?
Extremely talented, but he's ticking all the boxes. He's not just skillful. He's determined. He's fit. He's fast. He's on the right page with Lee and Ben. They're just unbelievable at what they do, but he's on the same page as them. So he knows when they say, "Oh, like we want to see more of this next bar," or "When we see we like this, this was good. Less of this, more of that." He's bang, makes an adjustment straight away, which is. For his age, his maturity levels.
Either way, one thing is certain: the name Moses Itauma will echo throughout heavyweight boxing for years to come.